Hi everyone, welcome to the MediaNord podcast, made by students for students. I'm Meyling Natalia and I will be today's host.
And I'm Robin and I'm gonna be today's co-host.
And in this podcast we want to discuss related topics of interest to us as students, and whether in the technical field or in our community.
Yeah, like CEU, which is a European University Alliance that aims to strengthen cooperation in education, as well as KUN, which works to improve equality and diversity in society.
But to continue talking about this topic, I'm gonna present our new guest, that is Linn Bylund. She works at KUN as a senior advisor. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
We are really happy to have you here. We know you from before because you came here before for some workshops, and we are very interested to talk to you about KUN. Can you tell us a little bit about KUN?
Yes, definitely. So, KUN Centre for Equality and Diversity is a non-governmental organization which was funded in 1991. So we're celebrating 12 years, and we work for the government, but we are a non-governmental organization, so we're not owned by the government, but we're partly funded by the government. So you could say that you have like the government, and then you have the directory working for equality, and then under them you have like four of us. We're four different centers. One are resource centers for men, one are connected to the university in Aedan, and there's two like non-governmental organizations like us. And we all together, we're like the governmental right hand, like the practical right hand of the government working with equality issues in Norway. And we work, our aim is to try and make a society where everyone, regardless of their gender, background, sexuality, ethnicity, functionality, all those factors are possible, like they can have the same opportunities in our society.
So we can say that is why you decide to work with this?
The reason why I decided to work with this? Well, there are many factors. Like I've always been quite active in youth politics and discussing like how we want our society to be. I studied political science, and then I was going to stay, like I studied in Copenhagen and I moved to Trondheim. Now I said like, okay, I'm staying in Trondheim. I'm not going back to Steinkjer because Steinkjer is my hometown. And I was like, not happening. And then my boyfriend got a job in Steinkjer. And I said, okay, you can take the train. Just take the train. And the train takes like 2 hours each way. So within a month, we had bought a house in Steinkjer. And I was still working on my master. And I was like, what am I going to do in Steinkjer? Like I was supposed to be out there saving the world. Because I had the typical like save the world complex, as you often have as a young, engaged person. But after a while, a friend of mine sent me a work opportunity. So that you have to apply for this. This is the job for you. And then it was KUN. And they have offices in Steinkjer, and in Steigen in Norland, which is like the really small place in the northern part of Norway. You have to take like the boat from Bodø for an hour to get there. But this was actually where it was funded, because they wanted also to have more quality, not only in the big cities, but also in the district. So we have like a really strong district focus in our work in KUN.
So actually you have this feeling before you start working in KUN.
Mm-hmm.
So we can say you have this since you started your career, or before. How you decide? When was the moment in your life where you say, I want to work with this? It was working in KUN, or it was before, or at university, or at high school? When?
No, I think it was definitely quite early. Like I remember going to secondary school, like when you're 13, 14 years old. And I remember thinking, why aren't there a soccer team for girls in our community? There weren't any. So then I started a petition, and we signed many signatures, and we went to the football club and we said, we demand like a practice time, we demand a trainer, we demand to be in the series so that we can play some football. I was crappy at football, but the team is still there, and my daughter now goes to it, so that's quite cool. Yeah. And then being active in youth politics, I remember we went to this big conference in Oslo like from all the countries' youth were sent to Oslo, and the topic for the conference was feminism. And I think that was like the day when it all really began. And they had like the scene from Matrix. So you went into this big auditorium, and on the screen, big screen, you could see the guy from Matrix, with the glasses, sitting there with the blue pill or the red pill. And they said at the start of the conference, okay, so this is it. You could either take the blue pill, go back to your society, never mind, this is a non-equal society, never mind discrimination, live your life. Or you could take the red pill and become a part of the movement trying to make this society more equal. And of course, we all took the red pill, and we did like self-defense courses, and we studied feminism, and we discussed the issues within porn, like all different kind of topics within the field of equality for those days. And I remember coming back then to high school as a different person, actually.
Wow.
Yeah.
You started very early. So after you finished the high school, you decide I will go to the university. And what was the career you study?
So first I went traveling because I wanted to see the world. So I booked one of those tickets that doesn't have an end ticket. So I went around different parts of the world. I think that was a good thing as well, giving some perspective on equality. Like one thing is the situation in the northern countries, but different situations I was in Latin America and Eastern Asia or Southeast Asia. Seeing different parts of the world, I think, was good. And then I started to study political studies in Trondheim after that, and then went to Copenhagen to do my master's.
That's very interesting. It's a lot of information that now you can share to us as students. So we have you before in some workshops. So you talk about diversity, right? And what do you think are the benefits of having an international community at the university, and why is that important in Norway?
Again, I think perspective. I think like Norway is a small country, and the film and TV industry in Norway is also quite small. So I think it's important. This is a creative field, and also in many ways like it's a universal language, making film and TV. So I think it's very important within such fields to have an international community. It creates better ideas, better results, and gives like I think it gives a good perspective like on the industry for everyone involved then.
I mean, may I ask you, when you say better ideas and all these things, can you specifically mention what you mean by that?
Yeah, I think that having a diverse student mass or a group of students will bring more diverse ideas to the table as well, giving better discussions. Like if you have only white boys, same growing up conditions, like same interests, have played the same games because that was the games that was popular in Norway or the films that was popular in Norway at that time, it would give a lot of the same ideas, I think. Like giving diversity into it, having different perspectives, like and different inputs, kind of all through their lives. It will give different discussions, making things together.
No, that's fair. That's fair.
And what are the challenges that is a mass or the minorities can face on a student or work environment?
I would think that maybe you guys would know more of the challenges that minority students would face at the universities in Norway. But I could say as like on a societal levels, we see like statistics shows that minorities in Norway they face certain challenges that the majority doesn't, or they face more of it. Right? There's more discrimination based on your identity. There's more harassment. There's less opportunity. You much sooner hit like what you call like the glass roof, kind of the glass ceiling. So you see that there are less minorities in leader position in Norway as well, right? And we can see that for women in Norway, the equality are getting better, but also for women, less. And then for minority, if you then are a woman and a minority in another matter as well, either it's ethnical, sexually, or with a disability, then less opportunities. So again, we see that if you have different minority identities put together, then your opportunities are even less.
That's why I think we can say that we are an example of that. I am from Nicaragua, that's in Central America, and I have almost 5 years in Norway. And the big challenge I had, it was the language. So language inclusion, I think, is the other point that is very important for us as these foreign students that are coming to a new country to study 3-4 years, or maybe they want to live in a new country. So to work or to live in a new with a new culture is very difficult, but it's not impossible if we maybe have the right environment, if we have people that are open to teach us or to learn like each other from each culture. So, Robbie, what do you think?
I mean, I'll be real. I don't really have any opinions on it, but that's mostly because when I have grown up and when I lived my life, I haven't really paid much attention to it. I'm frankly not needed to do that.
Do you think that it help you as a Norwegian that your university has like foreign students?
Well, yeah. I love that personally, especially in our course, considering film and TV. When you look at the history in Norway, it's not really that good. And I think the more international students you get, like from more countries, more things, like if you take those people and you just put them in like a fucking cereal bowl and you pour milk into that, like it's gonna create a delicious breakfast, is all I'm gonna say. Like I think it's a good thing. Yeah, it's gonna develop our creativity or whatnot. But
yeah, it's actually something really funny that when in my group of Latin American people, we meet Norwegian people, and we go to a party. They want to learn how to dance or how we dance. So they are always very interested in that. So it's really funny and really beautiful, actually, how we can change our environment to include other people. They include us or we include them. So that's why I really like the work you do. So now we can talk about the media.
Oh yeah, the media. Give me a hot second. Yeah. Talking about media, like film and TV specifically, there's been faced with women specifically not being able to really fit into the brick wall. Like it's very tight and they can't really climb the ladders to have the higher positions. That's usually because of how it's been run for years and years and years, and it's really hard to break that. Is there any ways you think we as a film and TV can break that curse, so to speak?
Yes, I think the first step is acknowledging the problem.
Yeah.
And I think that the industry is on it right now. Like you can see that there's more research on it. The statistics are coming more. So that is one point, like acknowledging that just by doing what we have been doing, the business as usual is not going to bring equality around. And it's not going to bring the best solutions for our industry as well. So that's the first part. And then second part is, I think, working with the industry and not the women. Like the women are well educated, they're well motivated, and they're here for a reason. They want to work in the industry and they want to do it well. I think that we so often, when we talk about equality, we just put the women or the minority in there and hope that it's going to fix itself. But the structures, as you say, the brick wall is too tight. So it's not going to work well if you don't work with the structures.
How would you recommend we work with the structures?
I would recommend putting money to the talk. Like all the fundings going into the industry should be they should be set for women or female producers, female directors. There should be like 50-50 or something. They should put different criteria on the funding. So making it more attractive for the industry to then hire female producers and producers, screenwriters and all that because they want the money as well.
Yeah.
And I think that the universities also have a good role to play. Like they are creating the industry of tomorrow. So the universities should be in the front line, both trying to have more opportunities for their women studying at the universities. They should be more open that this is a problem in the industry and you're going to be the next group, so you have to do differently. And the professors should showcase more female role models, talking about how we want our work environment to be, like creating the standards for tomorrow as well. Is one of the...
Yeah, that's completely right. For example, we have an example. In Hollywood, women are less than 22% directors. And I can say that it's almost same for producer. So we are not in that field. Not that much, not that many women are working as directors. When we know that we have a lot of good films that were directed by women, and they are not that famous the same as when they have a male director. So we are still fighting for this. But do you feel that now is better than maybe 10 years ago?
Within the industry or as a whole?
The industry or the whole set. Maybe it changed, right, with the industry or in general. But do you feel like maybe in general we have some difference?
When it comes to equality in Norway, I would say baby steps. But in some field, I think that we're making big progress. Like we can say like parental leave, for example. The way in Norway that it's been divided so equal between the two parents, that's a breakthrough in so many ways. Like I think it's gonna be a big part of changing how we think about raising children, who's responsible for doing all the chores at home. I think also for many men, it has been a breakthrough to say to their boss, especially in male-dominated industries, where it's not as accepted to say, well, I'm going to go on parental leave. No, you're not. But yeah, now you have to go on parental leave in Norway. Like the weeks are being taken away from the family if the man doesn't take his parental leave. I think that's a big change, like a game changer, and a way that you see, again, doing it on a structural level, not by just saying, more men should be home with their family. No, right? Because it doesn't work that way. Because we have this structure saying that no, men should be the provider. Like the norms are telling us still that he should be making the most money in the household. But having a government saying, we can do it, like we can kind of force you into it. We should have a household where men and women do equal. How can we do that? Yeah, well, we can tell them. We're going to make it. And then again, it's about putting money where your talk is, right? They're putting money on the table saying, this is to you guys. This is to all you parents or dads. This is your opportunity to be with your child. And I think it does something to the labor market as well, because statistics shows that if you don't do it this way, women will be home more with a newborn. And sick leave, if you take sick leave for children, women do most of that as well. So like it would be like until November, often mom is home with a sick child, and then she has done all her sick days. Like I think you have like 10 for each child. Then dad comes and does the rest, right? And we know that when you hire someone, the people hiring someone, if you have a small child, they will think about this. Like automatically, if you have a woman sitting there and she says, Leia, I have a 1-year-old, they will think, she's going to have a lot of sick leave. But a dad? No. Nobody thinks that.
Yes.
So there's still like our norms are still like influencing how we think about each other. And I think that's a big part of the problem. Like again, with the industry as well. The norms are still telling us that these are professions better suited for men. And I think that we all have to go to the core of it and just say something about the norms are not even fitting anymore. Like if you go on Reel or TikTok or wherever social media, I think that like half of the clips are about women and men telling the society, we don't fit into this norm. Like this kind of masculinity, this is not my masculinity, or this femininity, or like the idea of the women, that's not me. So we're much more diverse as well in the human population than the norms are telling us to be.
I mean, this may come out of the blue, but I wanted to backtrack a bit on the filmmaking aspect of this discussion. And this is more interesting for me and probably you too, Natty, as well, since we're film and TV students. But I wanted to talk about the females that I know in the industry myself personally. And one thing I notice is they tend to be, ironically, some of the best people like in the industry. I was saying ironically because they're a lot fewer than the men. Some examples I have is, for example, for me, I study directing. I really want to direct. And my teacher in that is a woman. Like she's called Judith Weston, and she's literally, you know, opened my mind. That's, you know, what I like to say is men tend to not think so much, emotionally speaking. And directing is, you know, all about emotions. So in a lot of cases, what I've noticed, female directors have a tendency to really get things out of their actors. Like it's a skill set that really is special.
We are multitask.
Yeah, no, yeah, definitely. But like another great example of that is Greta Gerwig, who just made Barbie. Now that film is based upon toys, right? Like how do you like act like a toy and like how do you make that realistic? I don't know about you, but I felt like Ryan Gosling in that film had one of his best performances ever, period. And that's a female director. And it's also a brilliant script. And it's not, you know, I'd like to say like strictly, you know, feminine, like, because she made that with Noah Baumbach, her husband. And she made sure like it's not just going to be about, you know, feminism. It's also going to be about men, how they're treated in society. And she understands equality. For me, that is so impressive as a man, personally. Another great example I have is Quentin Tarantino, one of the best directors of all time. His editor consistently forever has been a woman. Also, like, but she's great. She's amazing. I mean, it's such a, you know, an honor to know that the best, in my personal opinion, creators tend to be female. I think it's interesting. I just wanted to point that out.
And I think again, like if you see the minority perspective in it, like if you're a minority and you're going into a field where you know you're in a minority, you will work harder, and you have to work harder to make it, because you won't get the doors. The doors won't be open as easy as it will be for the majority. So I think that's also part of the thing that you see that the female directors are really good. Yeah, it's because they also had to work really hard to get there, and they're fewer as well, right? If you had a bigger scope, as many as the men, maybe fewer would be. Yeah, some of them wouldn't be as good. But yeah, I think that's part of the deal. Like, they have to work harder to get there.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
and it's been proven again and again, 100 times. But I'm gonna be a devil's advocate at this point also, because I would like to see both sides, definitely. And there was this one Marvel show called She-Hulk, which was strictly only a female cast and crew and everything. Now, that series is famous for being not good. And I've seen it myself. I think it's horrendous. Now, I'm not going to say it's because females worked on it. My argument is that they hired specifically only females, so that it wasn't about their skill set, it was about their gender. And that's, you know, a way I just present it because I think it's not a good way to, you know, solve this issue. If you want female workers in environment, look at their, you know, skills. Do not just hire them based on gender. You know what I'm getting at, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think if you see the other ways, I think that we have seen a lot of examples of men being hired as because they're men. That's why we have so many men in the industry, right?
Yeah, definitely.
But I think again, we're talking, we want diversity, right? And we're saying that we think that diverse minds gives the best solutions.
Yeah.
So again, I would agree with you that we want diversity within every cast or
definitely.
Yeah, every production. Yeah.
Yeah, it's what you said before. When you see a person, you can hire a person because you need a director, you need a producer. You don't care about if it's a woman or if it's a man. You just want a director, you just want a producer, you just want an editor. You just want to see that person's skills, not that person's gender.
Yeah, I mean, if you know, you hire someone in the industry, you want to hire them based upon, you know, what they can give you, like what they can offer. And if we can start to see that more, I think we're heading in a greater direction than ever.
Yeah, and to do that, I think that we have to be conscious. Like, we have to admit that there's, like, because in so many so many industries, we now come to the phase where they see, like, I don't even see gender. It's not a factor that I see. They say, and then
Seconds after they
they
do
hire
something.
the man.
Yeah.
Right? So I think that we have to see gender, but not as like we're going to hire because of gender, but we have to admit that this is something that influences our choices.
Yeah.
Because the norms are so strong.
Definitely.
So that we have to be conscious of the norms and how they are affecting ourselves, and then we can go in and say we want the best director. But maybe that should then do something about how we do the hiring.
Yeah,
For example,
that's the really hard part, because a lot of filmmaking is subjective. Like,
Yeah.
how do you know who to hire
Yeah.
to what project, and like who fits this? That's why I think the example of saying Quentin Tarantino's editor was a female, because he hired her based on her skill set alone, and that's it. Period. I really love that statement. Like, it's for it being the biggest director in the industry to stand up and say, I don't care who the fuck you are. I just want your skills. That's so fucking good for me.
Yes, and I think you are also an example of that, because you are a woman you are a leader, you are a student advisor, so you are in this topic. You are also an example for us that we as a woman, we can do this. We can fight for our rights. We can fight for finding a spot in this or whatever environment, whatever field we want to be. There can be the film's environment or another one. So what were the most fulfilling experience in your job, and what were the most challenging?
Okay. So this might come as a surprise, but the most fulfilling experiences in my job are often when working with children.
What?
So I work a lot with kindergartens and schools, because the way I see it is that if we want to change this, we have to start at the core. And the core is where we tend to reproduce these norms and those ideals of what men and women are and what they're supposed to be, right? And then we have to start with the children and the ones working with the children. Because I say that in our center, our organization, we work a lot with violence, we work with opportunities in the workplace, we work with men and suicide. We work with a lot of different topics that concerns grown-ups. But a lot of these topics are just symptoms of the real problem, right? The real problem is that we tend, all of us, to see differences in men and women that clearly aren't there, or we tend to put people in boxes based on their identities. So therefore I say that we should work less with the symptoms and more with the core.
Yeah.
Kind of. So I worked with a couple of, a group of children the other day, student council in a primary school. And I asked them, do you feel that teachers are treating you differently based on gender? And then they had to move in the room, I totally agree, I totally disagree.
Mm-hmm.
And they were all on totally agree. They're from 8 to 12 years old, and already they know we're treated differently by the adults. We are given some privileges based on our gender, and we're giving more kind of comments or negative feedback also that feels based on our gender. And I asked the boys what they said, and they said often we feel like we're giving more negative feedback on the same thing as the girls, but we're getting the fault a lot, because they already think that we're the bad boys and the good girls, right? And they said and I also feel they feel like we should do better. They put pressure on us to do better, for example, in mathematics or in gymnastics. And as he said, but the girls are almost always better. I don't know why they're saying it to us. So, and the girl, she stepped up as well. She said, yeah, I agree. I can totally do more push-ups than you. And I think that's what we're forgetting. We think that men is one thing and female are one thing, but the diversity within the females and the men's are often bigger than the differences between. So we tend to like think that there are two groups. And I don't agree with that either. I think that gender is more fluent than that. And we have more genders. But yeah, so this is one of the rewarding things with my job, to work with those who are, again, shaping the society of tomorrow.
So we can say that we have actually improved in these 10 years. We can think about today, 2023, right? And 10 years ago. Like we have changes in our society.
And we are becoming a more diverse society as well. And I think that's when we put work into the structures, and that is very good. Like, we are becoming a society where diversity is something that we need. Like, Norway is not gonna move forward without diversity. And also, we are working, like every company now has to say that we're working with diversity, right? It's part of their window dressing, or else they wouldn't work as a firm anymore. Like, big corporations have to say that we are on diversity, we are on the diversity train. It's important to us to give equal opportunities to all our employees, right? So I think that's good, if they do the follow-up work.
Yes.
Yeah.
What do you think is in this, what we're talking about, this future, or what we have been working, like the changes we have, like KUN work with this field, but what's the future of KUN? We will still working on the same topics, but what they have in their future, what they're gonna do, what are the next projects they have?
For us?
Yeah.
So I think that we can, I think that we're gonna work on gender for a long time. Like, somebody did the statistics on it. I think they said that we're gonna work on it for another 250 years before we're equal. So we have a lot of work to do. I'm not gonna get unemployed.
I heard that it was 500.
500. Oh, yeah. So, but on the other side, I think that what we do in KUN, we try to find the subjects or the areas where you haven't worked that much. So, for example, Sami are a big subject for KUN right now. Equal rights for Sami people and Sami culture, getting like the stand up to the, what would you say, like, because they have been oppressed for so long. So that's one of the things that we work with. Violence is another. Stalking is a new one, and digital violence. There's a lot of with the new.
Yeah, that's definitely something I never heard of. Could you explain what, like, the violence and fucking?
Yeah, so digital violence would be all kind of both what do you call it? More like the psychological violence that you do online.
Oh yeah, like harassment.
But it's
and
cyberbullying.
Yeah. And you kind of when you go past harassment, where it's more like threats and such. And also it's often combined with stalking, right?
Okay.
Often or sometimes, but yeah.
Okay. Wait, do you I mean, this is just something my head popped into, but at KUN, do you work with like the internet cyber, the girls playing games getting, trash talked by everyone else? Is that something that occurs often?
So that's one of the things in digital violence, right?
Yeah, okay.
And one of the big subjects because it happens a lot.
It was in the same category. Okay.
Yeah. But I know that our center hasn't had it as a project topic, but I know the center in Hamar has.
Okay.
Equality Center in Hamar has had that as one of their projects.
Interesting. And I was also going to ask, because KUN is, obviously a very, open-minded, a way, like, the people who work there, they really want to improve the world, right? And they like to see the world, as bigger and, more diverse, which is, a positive thing. But do you face a lot of, flashback or like lashback, it's called probably, from people?
From people, from society, from government. When you fight one right, you think that this right, we fought this right, we got it, we're going to keep it forever. Right? We don't even think about the right to vote anymore because we just got it, right? But then we got to the abortion issue and we thought that, okay, we got this. And then we got the backlash, right, for a couple of years ago when the discussion on how many weeks and all those things. And then we had a backlash. And you can see the same in the US, right? The backlash on abortion rights from state to state is falling down, crumbling now, right?
That's where it gets complicated,
Yeah.
Because you can hear yes to one thing and the next day, everyone is disagreeing or fighting. And I'm guessing that's still something you're trying to solve today. I don't know how you are working on it. I would love to know the process of it. Is it like a petition thing, or are you, well, trying to write down well-written documents that, explaining why?
Collect signs.
Yeah, science behind it. It's just, I don't know much about this.
We're not the activist organizations. That would be other organizations, more women-focused organization, kind of, because we're like a Center for Equality as an overall. And we're kind of working within, between research and practice. So we're trying to be like the bridge between. We're trying to take the research and how to implement it, how to put it in place, how to try it out, kind of. But I see, like, with gender, for example, we have a lot of backlash when it comes to gender as well. And we have, like, right now the right wing, also in social media and on the internet, being quite strong about there are only 2 genders, and everyone doesn't say that. And we have, like, don't come and try and change our masculinity. We want it the way it is, kind of like. So we see that there's a backlash there. And I wrote a comment in the paper last year about children's clothing. Oh, quite open one. Wasn't that harsh even. But I got a lot of private comments and emails from people that saying, don't screw with my perception of gender.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because it goes right into your core identity, right? And if your core identity is, I am this person because of my gender, and there's only 2 genders, and this is my perception of the world. It's kind of this discussion if the world is flat or round, right? And I think this is where we're at when it comes to gender right now. And that's what you see with the trans community as well. That's why they're getting, like, the harassment towards the trans community has exploded. Like, the Norwegian, they have a lot of statistics right now showing that in the last couple of years it's at, like, tripled or something, like how much harassment they get. And it's also because it's discussed more. It's coming more in the open, right? But also because it's screwing with the perception of people's core identity when it comes to gender. The thought that we have more than 2 genders, the thought that gender can be fluid, the thought that you can be something in between or something further out that's not in between. It's too mind-blowing to people. It's like saying that the world is round when everybody thought it was flat.
Yeah, so you in KUN, you used to go to the primary school, to the kindergartens to talk about this, or maybe talk to the father, to the parents. You used to do that? Or
we work mostly with the employees.
Okay.
So we're trying, because we know that, again, science shows us that the way we talk to children, the way we give them feedback, the way we explain things to them, the way we give them opportunities like, hey, do you want to play with that car in the kindergarten? Or if you always say, hey, do you want to play with that doll? It shows them, what is my world? I'm a girl, so I'm supposed to play with dolls. That's why you're asking me about that all the time, because you're never asking me to play with the cars.
Yes.
So we have science showing us that the way we talk to children are important. So that's what we're trying to tell to the kindergarten staff as well. And some of them are really good at it. They see the same problems as us. And they also see, like, the society more now than before has become, like, quite divided when it comes to toys, clothing, and also because we're getting richer. Like, we have more money, and then it's the producer or the industry, like the one making this toys and clothes, they can make it pink and blue because parents are going to buy pink and blue. So if you have a boy and then you get a girl, you have to buy everything new, right? More money.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's completely right. And the school has future projects, future activities that you can tell us about.
Okay, yeah, so I have a really cool project going on right now. So next year, we're going to go on a tour. Like, we have made something that we call the toilet newsletter or the toilet newspaper, which is for secondary, high, and high school. And it's a newspaper that hangs up in the toilets all around Norway, where we talk about gender, we talk about bodies, we talk about sexuality, we talk about bullying, inclusion. And now we have bought, like, what do you call it, camping wagon? Or what do you call it in English?
Camping wagon?
Yeah.
The camping.
Say?
Yes, sort of. Yeah, I think
So we bought one, and we're collaborating with the Stenstedt High School, and they're building it for us.
Really?
They're doing everything. So cool. And they're going to decorate it as well. It's going to be really cool. And now we have funding to go out to different high school and secondary high schools in Norway, driving around Norway with a camping wagon, to talk to the youth about sexuality and what their thoughts are about these subjects and what they want from the government. And we're going to decorate it all black inside with neon light in the ceiling. And they can write on the walls what they feel the government should do or what should be more about in schools when it comes to these subjects. So in the end, it's going to be like kind of a art installation about their saying.
That's actually very interesting.
And I think that we should drive it down to Stortinget in the end, down to Parliament, and put it outside there and get all the politicians to go inside it and see what the youth thinks about these subjects.
That's really nice.
I think realistically, what could be because if the idea is to collect like their opinions on the walls and everywhere, you know, as you said, an art installation, you can park that thing, you know, into a actual, you know, gallery or something, and I think that's a really strong statement. Speaking as someone who, you know, I studied art, so I like that as an idea, really. Good job.
Thank you.
It's my idea,
we're looking forward to it.
No, yeah, definitely.
I think that's the answer of what you said before, that we have to start from there, from children's.
And listen to what they're saying, right?
Exactly, because they are our future.
And
we are
they're
now
living it.
fighting for that. And if we are fighting, they will have our experience. They will read about us. They will see, okay, I learned this from that people, and now my community, my society, now it's better. And the next generation will have a better and better. And this is the way I think we can have the best. We have a goal, right? And I don't know, as you said, maybe 50 years, maybe about 500 years, because we cannot say that Norway is the whole world. Norway is a country that fights for this, and there are other countries that they have more problems with it. So
more
I
backlashes.
think we are a very good example for other countries, and that's something that I'm really happy. This is KUN projects, but for you, as personal, what are your next projects? So if you have a future projects, so KUN is here. And here is you.
So my life projects.
Yes.
Your personal life, yes.
Personal life projects. You want to tell us about?
You know, on my spare time, I'm a trainer for a handball team, girls 11. And I'm seeing now they're going into preteen, right? So I have a lot of... it's very interesting for me to work with them. So I think on a personal level, being able to do within the sports, seeing how we can, again, getting equality more into the sports, how we talk to the youth about how they collaborate, how to be girls in sports, to claim their spot, kind of. Yeah, I think that's really cool.
Oh, that's really nice. We are getting to the end of this podcast, but can you please leave this podcast with a big message for us, that with an advice maybe for our student company or student community? Sorry,
I think it would be to try to see if you go into a conversation and you feel like this is kind of what do you say, you feel like something with you is threatened, like if you feel like to think about what is it. Is it the norms coming into play? Like, is it where I should be working kind of more with my consciousness with the norms? Because we know that a lot of the problems facing minorities is often majority thinking, nah, the playing field should be level already, kind of, right? So it is already equal opportunities. But we know that there isn't, because some people are more privileged than others. But seeing your own privilege is kind of hard. It's often a blind spot, right? Yeah, it is. Yeah, right.
Speaking from personal experience.
So looking for blind spots, I would say, because this is a journey for all of us.
Yeah.
Finding your blind spots and then taking those conversations, even though they can be unpleasant for you, because you are then helping the society as a whole.
Yes. Thank you so much. Really, thank you for joining us today, for all this information that is really important for us as students and as a future community too. And we hope to have you back with more information about KUN, with more information about your own projects. And also thanks to the audience. Remember that this space is made by students for students. And therefore your comments and ideas for next projects are really important for us. So just send us. They will be very welcome.
And since you listen to this podcast, make sure to listen in on future ones and also subscribe and follow to YouTube, Instagram, whatever. We'll see you next time. And thanks for us.
Thank you for all and see you soon.